Gentlemen, welcome back. Happy Labor Day. We are celebrating today by drinking our cup of coffee and doing knife reviews because we love knife reviews. Today we're going to go over, bam! This is the Bark River Bravo Necker 2 in CPM 3V. I've had this for about 2 weeks now. I've been kind of fondling it, trying to figure out what role it's going to fit in my knife rotation. I think it's going to be an EDC knife, maybe a bushcrafter. This is small enough to really be like a day hike kind of knife or something along those lines. But yeah, it's a little companion knife, more or less. It's got this sheath, and then it really only has 2 eyelets for carrying. I guess you're going to have to basically either get a Kydex sheath or use this as a neck knife. But yeah, either way, not bad. The ergonomics on this thing. My ergonomics. Okay, well, I'm just going to be brutally honest because you guys know I like to be brutally honest. The ergonomics are not my favorite. I'm going to say that right now. It's not my favorite. It's got a lot of rough edges. You can look here. You can see right there. If you just press down on that, you get little divots in your fingers and stuff. It's just aggressive. It's really sharp all over. It's just got here, again, on the metal, here, here, here. They're really, really aggressive everywhere. And I don't know. It's not that, I don't know. I like the knife. It's just, eh. And then you got this jimping up here. Look at this. It looks aggressive, and I'm not really happy with how it performs, to be honest. Because look, it looks aggressive, and it doesn't really function. Because I can slide my finger with applied pressure. See my fingernail, how it's red? I can slide it with applied pressure back and forth. No issue. It's not catching, it's not biting. So what's the purpose of that other than maybe aesthetics? I'm not really sure about that. I don't know why it looks like that, why it doesn't really function. Say if you were using this in the wintertime or the fall, which is coming up, and you needed, to wear gloves or maybe a light pair of gloves, this is not really going to do much for that. So I'm not really sure what the logic is behind that. I don't know. It is what it is. I'm not happy about that. The other thing I would say is, generally speaking, if you look here, there's no G10 liners, which is something that I would have really expected in a knife of this cost and supposed caliber. But it's really thin. It doesn't really, I guess it doesn't really give you a fair, you can't really tell on camera, but you see here it's a little bit thicker and it kind of contours out, but it's really, really thin up top. And it feels light. And maybe they did that for weight purposes. I'm not really sure, but I'm not crazy about that. I like a little bit of a swell so I can get a good purchase on it. And I'm really not feeling that here. Now, I'm not sure if they had some sort of logic behind it, but either way, if that was the case, why weren't they thinking about these edges here? Because honestly, it'll bite on you. Now, one thing I kind of wanted to facilitate when I was going through my last video about neck knives is whenever I look at buying a new one or watch a video, I want to see how it fits, whatever knife it is. I want to see how it fits in my hand. And it's kind of hard to tell because everybody's got different hand size, obviously. So I brought the ruler out. And just for future reference in other videos, I'm going to show you how big my hand is so you can get a feel. And then maybe you can get a ruler out and see how big your hand is and maybe if it'll fit your hand. But my hand is just under 3 inches. That's 4 fingers just like that. So I'm talking about when you get a good grip on a knife, get a good purchase. That is what it looks like for me. So from the very, very bottom to the top is just around 3 inches. That's where my hand is. On this knife, getting my hand in here, getting a good purchase on it. It's a very snug fit, but it does fit. And like I was saying about this little, like the ergonomics right there, that could be an issue in the foreseeable future. The weight on this knife, I don't know the actual weight. Like I was saying about the handles, maybe that was why they made them so thin. I couldn't tell you, but it is very, very lightweight. I wouldn't see much of an issue in carrying this as a neck knife because you're probably not even going to notice that it's there. It's light. It feels like, I don't even know, lighter than a cell phone. So there's that. Material-wise, it's got pretty decent quality material. It's got these micarta handle scales, and they are removable. If you can tell there, they got these screws. Take it right off. That's probably just a simple Allen key. You don't need any special tool for that. The steel is 3V. Now, I can't really speak on the steel because I have other knives in 3V, but it's really all about the heat treat and how things are baked more or less, because that's really going to determine whether the knife is strong, because I mean even 3V can break if it's not heat treated properly. Generally speaking though, 3V is a very, very strong steel. So the leather, I know this looks maybe a little simple or cheap, but this is actually a very high quality sheath. This leather is pretty nice, I'm not gonna lie. And there's also a magnet built in right here, so it's sewn into the leather beforehand, but when you go to put the knife back in there, it kind of bites down on the leather. So you are not going to have a retention strap of any kind like that, but the magnet's really going to do that job for you, because I was out here shaking this thing, and I shook it pretty vigorously, and it didn't even come out a little bit, see? So yeah, you'll be safe with that. I wouldn't worry too much along those lines. As long as you're not, yanking on it or getting caught on stuff, I think you'll be fine. The fun factor with this knife is basically non-existent. I mean, there's nothing really, I mean, it's cool to own, I guess, to say you have a Bark River knife, but it's not like you're gonna, I don't know, maybe you'll like playing with it, maybe you'll like flipping around and fiddling with it and stuff, but it's whatever, it's a fixed blade. There's no real fun factor to that, other than maybe going out and doing some whittling or something like that. As far as owning the knife and how easy it is, sharpening on 3V generally is probably going to be pretty hard if you're doing it yourself. I would check local stores and local shops. Maybe you have a knife shop in your area. Maybe you just have someone that does like, I don't know, mower blades or something like that, and they can sharpen it up for you. 3V is pretty hard to sharpen. As far as that's concerned, you won't have to sharpen it as often though. So it's kind of a give and take relationship with this. Resale value on this knife, it's pretty incredible, I'm not gonna lie, just because there's so few and far between. I challenge you to go on the internet and search for Bark River Bravo Necker 2. See how many you can find that are actually for sale and not out of stock, because they're kind of on the scale of the paramilitary too, as far as them coming in stock and immediately going out of stock. Just people like them for some reason or another. I'm not really sure, because I'm still teetering on it, but the resale value on there is definitely there. So if you buy this knife for $160, you would probably be able to get $160 out of it when you're done using it, maybe a little bit less. Maintenance wise, you may have to put a light coat of oil on it, but overall you're not going to have to do much with this knife, just because it's 3V and it's nice and it's high quality, and I mean, you're not really going to have to do much. 3V is not something you're going to have to resharpen as often, and unless you're using this thing a lot in the woods, or I don't know, cutting up cardboard often, then you probably are not going to have to do a lot of work to maintain it. Now, one thing I noticed about Bark River knives, and I did my research, looking at YouTube videos and reading forums and stuff like that, it seems like from like 2010 to 2013 they were having a quality control issue. I saw a lot of quote unquote fail videos and a lot of different opinions on these knives, and it seemed like people were having issues with them chipping, breaking, stuff like that. And I saw one little thing that kind of stood out to me, in the fact that a lot of the people that were complaining about these knives were overseas. They weren't here in the States. So I'm not sure if they fixed that. I couldn't really find anything after 2013 that had issues. So maybe it was just like a brief period in time where I don't know, where they were heat treating them improperly or something along that. But it seems like maybe they have squashed that. I would just, do my due diligence and read up on it and find out what the deal is. I went and purchased one. I purchased one, but we'll see what happens with that. But it seems like they have kind of squashed that. Now the cost on this thing is $160, but they make a lot of different other knives that of this caliber that are more expensive. This is kind of like the bottom of the barrel one as far as this knife is concerned. They have others that have G10 and bone, like dyed bone for handles and stuff, and they are much more expensive, like in the $180 to $200 range, even up to, I've seen them to $215. So yeah, this is kind of the bare bones model, but they have some that are more expensive. $160 is a little much, in my opinion, to pay for a neck knife. I generally like to stay around the $100 mark, but I decided, since these are so hard to come by, that I would pick one up and see what I thought about it. It's okay. Honestly, I'm going to say I probably am not going to keep this knife, just because there's a lot of things here that I just don't love. For the price, $160, I could get 3 other knives that I do love. And even though the fact that people are kind of buying these up and they're super popular, I don't know. Maybe it's just a, I don't know. I'm not really crazy about it. This is a Elk Ridge ER 107. This is about a $10 to $13 knife online. And they are very, very similar in size. Let's see here. From the bottom to the top, the Elk Ridge is about 8 inches. Bark River is about 3.5, maybe 3.25. But as you can tell, you're going to get that in mostly blade length. So if you're measuring up these blades, they are very, very similar in size, maybe just a little bit off. And where that extra inches is really in the handle. So whereas this one is kind of snug, this one has a little bit extra at the bottom there, a little bit more comfortable. But now this is a $10 knife, and you can just check out the ergonomics on this thing. It's rounded around all these edges, and it feels really good. You're not really going to get a lot of hot spots, and that's something that's important if you're skinning game or if you're out doing bushcraft or camping or whatever it is. You want to be comfortable holding the knife, and this one, for being a $10 knife, is crazy comfortable. Now, given the fact that the steel is not high quality, this is, I'm going to say probably 440A. This is not very high quality steel, but you know what? For $10 and these crazy ergonomics, look at this. Look at the quality on this thing. For being a $10 knife, it really, I mean, I'm pretty impressed with it. Now, obviously, this is going to have to be touched up a lot more often than this one. But for that price, I'm probably going to go with the $10 ER 107 versus the $160 Bark River knives. And that's just my opinion. Others are definitely going to, change on that. I like this one a little bit better. The jimping is, look at that. It really catches you right there. You have a slowdown when you do that because it's aggressive. And I like that. And I'd rather sharpen this knife more often for $10 and spend $160 on this knife and just be totally disappointed in it. Now, I guarantee you people are going to have an issue with me saying that. That's just how it is, guys. That's how I feel about it. I'm a budget person. This is not what I need for that price. I want something that, for $160 for a small fixed blade, this thing better be something special. And for $10, I'd rather have this and just carry around one of those diamond card sharpeners and touch it up every once in a while. Just saying, guys. I picked this up in Frederick, Maryland from Edgeworks. I would definitely check this out. You guys know I don't really endorse anything. If I talk trash on a knife, I'm going to talk trash on a lot of knives. You've seen it, Benchmade, Spyderco, now Bark River. And not to say anything bad on them, I'm just not crazy about the ergonomics and some of the quality issues with some of the knives. So definitely check this out. Give him a call because he is extremely knowledgeable and really helpful with a lot of the stuff that I do. Very supportive. So check him out. Give him a call and make some orders from him. Alright guys, like, comment, and subscribe. I will be back shortly with another review. Let me know what you want to see. Later.